Why am I not building like enough muscle? Why don't I have like a six pack? Why isn't my chest growing?
Every picture, every video, I could only look at the things that I hated about myself or that I thought sucked.
I just got to remind myself, like, 15-year-old me wanted to be here at one point. So I got to be proud of that. But you look good, bro.
Appreciate you.
Every body is a social experiment that challenges participants to confront their relationship with their bodies, layer by layer. Through guided prompts, perception box questions, and voluntary undressing, we explore vulnerability and the personal narratives we attach to our physical form. By stripping away the layers we don't need, every body creates space to look inward and untangle the stories we've told ourselves about our bodies.
Take off your outer layer and look in the mirror.
Are you comfortable removing this layer?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead and do so.
Have you ever used clothes to hide your size, your shape, and your story? What were you trying to cover and why? Definitely. Especially when I was younger, I had a problem being really skinny. Didn't like it. Didn't like the shape of my arms. So I would wear really baggy clothes to try to hide that. Even during summer, even if I was dying, sweating, I would still wear it. And I think even now, sometimes, like when I bulk up, I wear baggier clothes just to hide my gut. So, yeah, I still do it now.
If you could speak to the teenage version of yourself hiding in that sweatshirt that you had on, what would you say to him?
That no one cares. To enjoy yourself, be free. Because honestly, at that point, you're a kid. Enjoy life. A lot of people think that I'm confident, but I really am not. I'm not super comfortable being on camera, taking pictures as well. I hate taking pictures. I don't feel like I'm photogenic. So I think if I let that go, I think the confidence will start showing more.
If the rest of you feel comfortable and are ready to continue, you may remove this layer. If not, feel free to step out.
When he said when he was a kid and he was, super skinny, growing up, I felt like just overly slim and not much, muscle on me. And I think that's something that a lot of, young boys growing up might see in themselves when they look in the mirror, which is normal. Oftentimes if we haven't gone through puberty or we're still going through puberty, we're not going to see, big muscles like we see on TV or something. And so that was definitely something I struggled with growing up. Yeah, I mean, I could relate to what he said. Like when you're bulking, if you really don't know how to do it the right way, you can get kind of chubby and you might look a lot worse. So I think it's just more so about being gentle with yourself and, being happy with, all right, I did put on that weight. Yeah, I mean, you're not a skinny guy anymore, man. You got some size on you and it's commendable. I can tell,
Thank you.
Put a lot of effort into that.
And I think the mindset, what you said of it comes from within, I think that is super crucial. And at the end of the day, no one cares about that's what I had to get over. No one cares that much. I always stress about or think people are always looking at me, but in reality, everybody has their own things they're dealing with.
Yeah.
So once you learn that, you're free.
1,000%.
Out of all the negative self-talk you do, what are you most afraid is truth? I don't think I know it's true. I know I'm skinny. I've always pretty much been the same size my whole life. I never really want to take off my shirt, going to the pool, because I was afraid of what other people were going to say. 10th grade year, we had a pool party for our high school, and all my friends, they played basketball, so they pretty much had the athletic body, and I was just the skinny kid that would tag along, bird-chested, as they would say. I can't lie, I was a little jealous, because it's I eat a lot. I can't even lie. I eat probably maybe 5 times a day, and the weight never goes anywhere. Seeing my friends have the athletic body, and I just couldn't get it no matter how I tried. It was just a little jealous for me. I've been getting in the gym more, just trying to work on my body, work on myself, really. I know I don't have that much muscle, but I typically don't really care about it, because at the end of the day, I know I look good. Especially if I get a haircut, I feel like I'm the most handsome person in the world, but to each his own, though.
Definitely with the pool. I had that problem too. When I go to the pool, I would always wear a shirt because I was too skinny and I didn't want to take off my shirt, right? And then I got the whole bird chest too. So I was like, damn, do I really got a bird chest? So I would always wear big clothes, even in the pool, never take it off. You're right though. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. You got to love yourself because no one else will.
I really connected with the bird chest thing because I actually got in a fight in high school. This dude was like in the locker room saying you got a bird chest, like how you start football and basketball. And I didn't even know what bird chest meant. So I was like, bro, you got a bird chest. And then he swung on me, he punched me in the face. And then we started fighting and someone told me what it meant. And that's when I realized like, oh, he's just projecting. Cause like, I didn't care what I looked like. I'm 16, you know what I mean? I just wanted to like play sports and have fun and shit. So
Take off your shirt and look in the mirror.
Do you feel comfortable removing this layer?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I felt a little nervous, but I was happy that I followed through. We're all here for the same reason, and that is really like reassuring. As you face your bare chest, arms, and stomach, what's the first flaw your mind clings to? Well, the first thing that I see is like the rash that I have. There's like a whole scarring on my chest. I have that because I have to take medication that I've been taking since I was like 6 years old. It's essential. Like I need it to maintain the little strength that I have. And because it's strong, it has pretty strong side effects. And one of the side effects is developing this skin irritation. This was super like insecure for me when I was, especially in high school. I remember in high school, I had some friends over to my house because I have a pool. But before they came over, I was like, oh, I don't know. I shouldn't take my shirt off. I should wear a shirt to cover it up. Even though they were my friends and I knew that they know everything about me and they don't care, I still had that negative thought in my head and that kind of like ruled over me. All these racing thoughts would be in my head, feeling that I was going to be judged for something that I can't control. I think that was the biggest thing, that I can't control this and being judged for something that is out of my hands, because then that makes me powerless. Growing up, I always get people looking at me, even to this day, like little kids and even older adults sometimes in stores, they give me like weird looks in public. There were some times where I would be upset and I would cry and I'd be like, why am I like this? Why can't I do that? Why can't I play with other kids? Why do I look like this? Just having that support system of like my parents telling me, you know, you were made like this for a reason. You have so much things going for you. You're so smart, you're talented. And we have to feed like what we can do as opposed to what we can't.
If the rest of you feel comfortable and you're ready to continue, you may also remove your shirts. If not, feel free to exit and go into the holding area.
I think it's, really important what he said about improving himself in like the ways that he can control. Sometimes friendly banter and like, boys being boys, turns into, harsher, ridicule. Finding success in certain areas, whether it be, my career or in sports and, different extracurriculars, I was able to not focus so much on where, I was being judged or the ridicule. That's where I like found the most freedom and happiness, is when you actually take action to improve those areas and you better yourself in any way that you can.
Yeah, and it takes practice.
Yeah.
Like it takes practice for people to do that, but I think you nailed it. It's so important.
what is the one thing about your body you never want your partner or closest loved one to know you struggle with? I mean, my girlfriend knows. So it's like I just have like severe body dysmorphia. And, I thought that when I started competing in bodybuilding, it would kind of fix that. Because I'm like, oh, I could just make everything better. Like, that's what I'll focus everything on. But when you do progress, you just tend to only look at the things that you lack in. And I feel like it's almost made it even worse, because then it's like, you're literally standing up there getting judged on your body against people who are doing the same. And you might think like everybody else looks better than you. And like, I know I got a problem with it because my first show I won and I still just wasn't happy. Like every picture, every video, I could only look at the things I hated about myself or that I thought sucked.
Your body dysmorphia, if you're comfortable talking about it, where do you think that originated from?
Probably young, maybe like 8th grade. That's when I started lifting. I was just a very gifted athlete growing up at a young age. The high school coaches were telling my dad like, hey, he has a chance to either start or make varsity as a freshman. So he just made me start working out. So he looked up like Michael Jordan's trainers' workouts that he put him through. I remember like the first day he brought me to Rutgers University, the football stadium. We had me running the stadium steps and I just stopped at the top and started crying. I was like, I want to go home and play video games. I'm about to throw up. I just wanted to be like the biggest dude on the football field, or, always trying to be like the most jacked dude on the basketball court. though I enjoyed it, like training, dieting, you know, everything that comes with it, that it just created like a bigger hole that I just keep falling into because like I feel like I'm never progressing or getting to where I want to be.
When you say body dysmorphia, can you describe for those who might not have experienced it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess right now, right, like I'm just looking at myself and I don't see anything that I'm like, oh, like nice, you know, I'm just looking at like, I wish my chest was bigger, you know, I wish my arms were bigger. When I have to like check in with my coach, I have to do pictures and videos. So I'll just, you know, I'll do like my poses and stuff and I'll be like, damn, like you're not dry enough, not vascular enough. That's just kind of like what I tell myself. My bodybuilding coach, I have to send him update pictures every Wednesday and Saturday. And recently, this is when I noticed I was like really like not good with this. But the week before I had rolled up my boxers, I had them down. And then the next week I rolled them all the way up and I was like, damn, bro, my legs got smaller. He's like, bro, what? He's like, they're bigger, they're more muscular. He's like, I was like, yeah, but look at this. He's like, yeah, because you had your shorts rolled down, so it's the more lean part of your leg showing. So I'm just like, dude, I need help. I need to see like a therapist or something. That's pretty much what it is, like where you just look and you can't be happy with anything. You're just trying to pick yourself apart and just look at where you feel like you're lacking. When I get compliments, I just think like, oh, this dude's just bullshitting me. Or, you know, I'll look at something and be like, well, you know, he has a bigger chest than me, so he's not really complimenting like my arms or something. Or I take it, you know, with grace and I appreciate it, but I guess I'm not good at accepting it or believing it, you could say.
I could relate. Yeah, even now I feel like I look in the mirror and I'll be like, damn, I'm f***ing fat. Like, I'm not gonna go out, like I will like stop making like plans or I'll cancel my plans just because I feel some type of way about my body and it's like an everyday thing. Or like I'll like change out my outfits like 5 times just to try to look skinny or something. Because I was bullied and I know I'm like not the fittest person. So I look at I know how I want to look. I feel like I go to the gym, I'm like, damn, like why am I not building like enough muscle? Why don't I have like a 6-pack? Why isn't my chest growing? So I feel like all that just builds that negativity when I look in the mirror.
Yeah, like when I would go out, I used to try and wear like, because I didn't like my chest, I would try and find brands that sold shirts with the arm sleeve smaller than the size of the shirt. So it'd be like a 2X shirt so I had my chest, but like a larger XL sleeve.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, dude, I know how that feels, man.
I feel like I relate to everything you said. Like, I don't bodybuild, but I feel fat too, especially when I bulk up. Right now, I'm like at 193. So I feel like super fat right now, right? And like, I feel super self-conscious. And then also with like people complimenting you, I do the same thing. Like if you were to compliment me, I'll be like, he's just being nice right now. Like, you know, I really don't look like that.
I mean, you do got a big ass chest, bro. Like that's the
number one compliment I get, bro. I get a big chest, but I just feel like, you know, it's fat. But even though it's not, but you know, I feel like it's fat. And I feel like I'm unproportional, but obviously I'm my hardest critic, right? I just got to remind myself like 15-year-old me wanted to be here at one point. So I got to be proud of that, how far I've came. Yeah. But you look good, bro.
Appreciate it.
What does your dream relationship with your body look and sound like?
Something as simple as like when I wake up and go into the bathroom to brush my teeth in the morning in my boxers, to look in the mirror and just not think anything. Nothing. Like I don't even have to be like, oh yeah, like nice. You know, I don't want that. I just want to be able to like grab my toothbrush and brush my teeth and leave, go to work. I hope I do get to that point, so.
Take off your pants and look in the mirror.
Do you feel comfortable removing this layer?
Yes.
All right, you may proceed.
Have your legs or any part of you ever made you feel unworthy, unattractive, or less than? I would say yes. I feel like I have really skinny legs. So I feel like when I was in sports, I was like always wearing shorts. So I've just felt unattractive. People letting me know that I have chicken legs just made me feel, I guess, not as good as the other players when I was playing sports. I was pretty chubby as a kid. So 7th grade, I was like, oh, like, let me get into sports and, you know, help start losing weight. I was trying to get into flag football. And then one of the guys was like, oh, like, you're so fat. Like, why the f*** are you even trying? Like, you're not going to be good. Just get the f*** out. And so I think that's where I was like, oh, shit, all right. I guess I won't do this. Them teasing me, I think,
really put a strain on me. I like struggled with like my body image a lot towards then, just because I felt like I wasn't enough or I wasn't good enough to be in sports.
Do you still hear that voice sometimes?
No, I don't. I go to the gym. I feel like that's like my escape. It makes me feel better. This past year, I did lose 40 pounds.
What was the hardest part about that journey?
Trying to stick to a diet in a sense that I would go days without eating, which is why I feel like I'm not like built like with muscle.
I want you to say 3 positive and kind and true things about yourself.
You have cool tattoos. You're an inspiration, and I'd say I'm proud of you for losing 40 pounds.
You want to say congratulations?
Thank you.
Pounds, definitely. It's not
Thank
an easy
you.
task.
Yeah, I was gonna say good shit on that, but just like for your own sake, definitely don't create like a negative relationship
Right.
with food. You know,
Right,
'Cause,
yeah.
like when you do something that drastic and you're not eating and stuff, like you're gonna look thinner and whatnot. But like you said, like you just lost muscle.
No,
you know?
yeah.
So try and like just get that healthy relationship with it, and you look awesome. Like you already do look awesome.
For sure. Thank you.
I think even now, I struggle with eating. I gain weight so easily. So even though I know how to diet, sometimes I find myself skipping a meal or two because I'm just like, you know what? I went over my calories. I got to skip. But then I also remember as long as I portion my meals, I'll be fine. When I was younger, when I was skinny, that too, I would eat, never gained weight. And then once I like hit 21, I started gaining all the weight. And then I got really fat. So then that's how I started skipping meals once a day. Sometimes I wouldn't even eat for the whole day. So I definitely had to learn how to control that. And it's not easy. Definitely wasn't easy, but I got to that point where I learned how to diet. I tell people you got to eat 4 or 5 times a day, and they look at me like I'm crazy, but it's like as long as you portion your meals, you'll lose that weight, because if you eat once a day, your body's going to store all that. So I think that was like my biggest struggle, definitely.
If you feel comfortable to continue, you may remove your pants. And if not, then you can grab your things and head into holding.
If your body never changed from this moment forward, would you be able to accept it? Why or why not? Not at all. Not at all. Because I've been up and down on the scale. You know what I mean? I've been bigger, I've been smaller, and I'm definitely not satisfied. That's why I'm here. You know what I mean? I'm not satisfied with the way I look, my size, anything like that. It's just really because I expect more from myself. Like right now, I'm probably walking around 195. I've been 230 before. You know what I mean? So. And I'm talking 3% body fat type. But yeah, I definitely have a problem.
What part of your body feels the hardest to accept?
My back. I got a small back. Most people don't even think about it. You know what I mean? I grew up an athlete, so being strong and having muscles was the key, you know? And I spent the first 20 years of my life playing football. And that was one of the things where it showed, you know what I mean? But I naturally have a small back. So, you know, it ain't too much that I could do. You know, but I do hate that I can see through my underpits, my armpits. I really can't. But to me, you feel me? I want that Brock Lesnar. When I was in high school, you know, like I said, I trained 20 years of my life just to go to the NFL, and it didn't happen, right? But one of those things that hit me was in a newspaper back home where I'm from. My coach put in a newspaper that I had a small frame, and it fucked up my whole recruiting. From then on, everybody saw it. I used to go to women's houses, they'd be like, oh my God, that's him in the newspaper, whoopty whoop. Little do they know, that next column over, I got my coach talking down on me. For an athlete, that's huge. You know what I mean?
Do you still think about that today?
Yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? Because he pointed out something that I didn't know about myself. You know what I mean? You know, it's the reason why I'm here and not on that field right now.
What would it take for you to let go of that?
I can't let go of that. I can't let go of that. I don't care if my back get bigger. You feel me? The fact that he pointed it out to the world like that? Nah, bruh. That's not cool. It still don't sit right. Not at all. Not one bit. Like, I can't even picture a life without that statement being made. You feel me?
I relate with you the most, bro. Like I did make the NFL, and I got cut super quick. And I feel like I was depressed. I'm 31 now. I was probably depressed. I got cut at 23. I was depressed till I was 28, bro. And like, you feel like you lose your identity when that shit gets taken away from you. But you don't have a small frame. You're tall, you're built, you're cut. So like, that's something that is, you know, it's out of our hands, right? Like, you didn't go on the paper and write that shit about yourself. He did. I didn't go out and cut myself. I was doing well. I got cut. Some dude that probably never even played football cut me. Some nerd ass scout.
Tight shit.
Pardon my language. But, you know, like, you hold on to that stuff.
That's crazy,
and
bro.
you
That's
just
crazy.
can't, because you lose your identity. But just because they said some shit, that's not your truth. You know what I mean? So I feel like you're definitely a confident dude. So don't let any of that shit like keep dwelling on you or not allow you to push forward or keep you from going to get that frame that you want. You know what I'm saying? Because you could definitely get your back big.
I want to dive a little bit into how that felt for you getting cut.
I mean, that was like my only dream in life since 5th grade. Getting cut, you know, my agent said it was politics. I let it completely take my identity as a human being. I didn't go to the gym. I stopped doing cardio. I was eating like sporadically. You know, I started to drink a little bit. You know, it was not in my routine at all. Yeah, that was definitely by far like the darkest time of my entire life, because it was just, you know, not many people have a dream to begin with, and then when you actually achieve it and it's gone, you're just like, shit. Like, it literally felt like I was a zombie for like years. You just kind of wake up, do the same thing, go to sleep, and wake up. You feel like nothing even happened the day before. So everything was just like a dark blur.
Yeah.
And bodybuilding didn't help that.
No, I mean, bodybuilding kind of like is what resurrected my life. It gave me meaning to compete again. For me personally, I just have to compete.
Yeah.
I need a reason to be healthy as possible, you know, and now it goes hand in hand with my job because I'm also a bodyguard. So it's like I can't not be big. But yeah, bodybuilding definitely gave me that. But, you know, like, he knows, like, when you play football, bro, it's like nothing else in the world that could like give you that feeling. So
It's like going on the field with your brothers. That feeling, ain't nothing like it. I miss those days, you know? A lot of my good memories come from the field and with my teammates. So that's why, you know, it hurts so much when that thing gets stripped from me.
If you could go back to the young man you were in college
Yes.
and talk to him, what would you say to him?
It was crazy, but I would definitely tell myself, don't drop out and never conform, you know, stay unique, be you. You know what I mean? That's why people like you, because of who you are. You know what I mean? Not because, you know, you're good at football. You know what I mean? I never got that call, you know, but because they genuinely like you for you. You know what I mean?
you know, I feel like you kind of just hit a point where it's like, man, like, I'd really let somebody else, something out of my control, ruin my life. Like, I have the rest of my life to do something else. Even though that was the one dream I had from my childhood, I would just say, like, now that I am finally past that in my life and I'm at peace with it,
Right.
once you find a way to do the same, bro, you're just going to flourish and find something else to just kill it at in life. So,
Hey, man,
I
appreciate
wish
that.
you well with that.
You know, I'm a big boy now, but I'm still not grown. You feel me? Every single day, I'm learning something new about myself. You know, this journey, this adventure that I'm on. I'm right where I need to be, where I'm supposed to be. You know what I mean?
All right, so all the women are going to exit except for me. We're framing out everything, so all the cameras are belly button up, okay?
Take off your underwear and look in the mirror.
Now, before you do that, are you comfortable removing this layer?
Yeah.
You may proceed.
This part of your body has been measured, ridiculed, glorified, and hidden. How do you truly feel about your body when no one's watching? I truly feel pretty confident in my body at this point in my life, and I can't say it's always been like that. It took a lot of hard work and dedication to kind of build up this confidence within myself. Yeah, I know I'm not all the way to where I want to be, and I'm also comfortable knowing that I probably, really will never get there because, I've kind of learned that it's all in the process of the improvement, that you can kind of look back on progress that you've made.
Do you think being teased for your appearance early on in your life shaped how you see yourself today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I got teased for all sorts of reasons. I mean, I grew up in a small town and, I was always 2 heads taller than everybody else. They're calling you a big, ugly freak. Or, I thought my skin was super pale. I got called a ghost. People called me a ginger and told me I had no soul. Yeah, that stuff just really got to me. Like as I was probably starting to go through puberty at the time, and that stage of your life, I don't think anybody really wants to be outstanding in those ways. You kind of just want to fit in with the crowd. I've really grown to enjoy who I am, just for my unique characteristics. Whether it's my pale skin or my orange beard, or being taller than a lot of people in the room. They used to be things that I hated, and because I got bullied for those things, and now it's I'm just happy to be who I am and that I'm not anybody else but me.
If you had to say one thing out loud right now that you've never admitted about your penis, what would it be?
It curves pretty hard to the left. It is something that I do find to be like an imperfection, although I don't spend a lot of time rock hard with the lights on, everybody measuring the curvature. It's all about the motion of the ocean. It doesn't always matter how much you're packing, but how you treat that person that you're with intimately.
How much of your sense of worth or masculinity is tied to this part of your body?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I get naked and stripped down in front of guys in the locker room at the gym, 5-6 nights out of the week. So, I'm pretty comfortable when I go to the gym, and I know everybody's just, trying to better themselves as a man. And that's what we're doing, having these discussions.
If the rest of you feel ready and comfortable to continue, you may remove this layer. If not, feel free to put on your clothes and head into holding. All right.
It was interesting. I thought, more of the gentlemen here with me were gonna, participate in full nudity and get real and, have more of a open dialogue with all of them. Our genitals are, what make us, unique, but also kind of tie us together as men. And so I thought we'd have more of a, a deeper conversation on that level.
All right. So it's just the two of you left.
Yep. What was your name again?
Danny, bro.
Danny, George.
Nice to meet you, George. I'm comfortable being naked. I'm not ashamed of anything, so.
What was that like for you?
Freeing. I definitely relate to like feeling not man enough, I guess. Mm-hmm. Right? When I look at myself and I'm naked, and I think to myself like, damn, like, I wish this was bigger. I wish that was bigger. I'm a grower, right? So I wish I was bigger when I was softer. But end of the day, bro, like, I just figured I got so comfortable to a point where it don't really matter, honestly. It truly doesn't matter. Like, here I am butt naked. Yeah. You two, it's just you and I. Might be a little awkward, but end of the day, bro, it's like, if you don't love yourself, then you're going to limit yourself, right? I have a tattoo right here that says, fear ruins life. It really does. It limits you so much. And there's so many opportunities that you're missing, or people that you can miss, new adventures you can miss, right? Yeah, man. So it's all about overcoming that fear.
I agree, man. Fear none but God.
If someone who loves you saw you standing here naked, what would they say to you?
They would say, hell yeah, George, you're a stunning young man, and you exude confidence, and you're beautiful just how you are, and I'm proud of you.
And can you turn around and look at yourself in the mirror again? Say all those things again, but I want you to say them to yourself.
George, I am proud of you. You exude confidence. You're a stunning young man. And you're a pleasure to be around, and you're on the right track. Your chest and your arms are growing. Your abs look tight. And your beautiful orange beard is glowing.
How much of your sense of worth or masculinity is tied to your penis?
For me, not much. especially with social media nowadays, you're so conditioned to think the bigger your penis is, the more of a man you are. But honestly, it don't matter. You can be 3 inches, you can be 12 inches. End of the day, your value and your honor and your word is what makes you a man, not your penis size.
Pinpoint 3 physical attributes on your body and give yourself compliments.
You definitely have some pretty nice triceps, right? Decent sized arms. You got a big jaw. Definitely have a nice jaw. And you have a nice chest. Nice full chest.
If someone you love, someone who loves you, was staring at you right now, what would they say to you?
I'm proud of you. No matter what, you've always overcame any obstacle that's thrown at you. You don't let much hold you back, and you look amazing. You worked hard for it. You're an amazing person.
I wanted to come today because I thought this is super important. You know, not a lot of men really get vulnerable and talk about how they feel with their bodies.
You know, you come into something like this, and as a trainer, I coach a lot of people, so I'm always telling people what they should do or how to make them feel better. But the most shocking thing was how much it was the exact opposite. Like, I found myself relating to everyone and how we all related to each other, and you know how much of a healing experience it was.
I feel like a lot of people need to hear this and just hear how other people's struggles have been treating them and how they can overcome their struggles as well.
And what belief about your body or just yourself are you ready to let go of?
Just in general, that I guess I'm overweight or fat. I'm holding on to the past, and I just need to let that go.
That I'm less of a person because of my physical appearance. That I am just the unlucky one. Oh, well, you just happen to be that way. You happen to get the short end of the stick. That you just have to deal with it. I no longer feel that way, and I hope that people can resonate with that they matter, no matter who they are.